Everyone in town knew about Beast Mode Gym. Well, it wasn't just a fitness center. It was a battlefield where sweat, tears, and occasional screams echoed against the walls, as if the people in there were facing Judgment Day. The gym stood boldly at the corner of a busy street, and its entrance was painted with motivational quotes that looked less like encouragement and more like threats. One of the quotes read, "No excuses, just results," and it was written in bold red color. People talked about the place as if it were some mysterious cave where warriors were molded. Some said if you survived 2 weeks with Coach Bruno, your body would look like a sculpture carved from marble. Others said you wouldn't survive at all because Bruno's sessions were not training. They were punishment disguised as exercise. They called him the gym instructor from hell, and somehow, ironically, that nickname only brought him more clients. Everyone wanted results, and Coach Bruno promised results faster than anyone else. You only had to endure what felt like torture to get there. Bruno himself was a towering figure with defined muscles. His body looked like they were hand-drawn by an artist with a ruler. He never smiled, and his voice boomed across the gym floor like the sound of thunder. People said when he shouted, even the dumbbells shook. His motto was simple yet terrifying. Your body won't change unless it cries for help. And oh, he meant every word of it. Now, there was Amara, who had heard the stories of Coach Bruno just like everyone else. She had seen videos on social media, the before and after photos of women who once hid their bodies under baggy clothes, but now flaunted toned arms and flat stomachs after surviving Bruno's hellfire workouts. All of them were smiling for the pictures, as if they did not pass through hell to arrive here. Amara was a 3-month postpartum mom who was still recovering from childbirth, but recently she couldn't look in the mirror without sighing. Her belly still had that soft round shape, and her waistline refused to snap back no matter how many cups of green tea she drank or how many miracle waist trainers she tried. Whenever she scrolled through Instagram and saw other moms posing with flat stomachs and glowing skin, she felt like she was failing. She wanted her body back. No, she wanted even a better body than she had ever had. And every friend she asked for advice had the same answer. Go to Bruno. Just go there. He will fix you. Her best friend Titi was the loudest voice of them all. Titi had recently transformed from a plump size 16 to a fit size 10 after training at Beast Mode Gym. And she wouldn't stop talking about it. Amara, I'm telling you, just 1 month with Bruno and you will look like a goddess, Titi said, and turned her phone to show Amara a series of shocking before and after photos. Amara frowned. But is it safe? People say that place is crazy. Crazy? Please don't mind them. Results don't come from sitting on your couch. Bruno is tough, yes, but look at me now. Do I look like someone who regrets going there? Titi asked and struck a pose like a model. However, Amara's husband Chike was not amused by the idea at all. When she mentioned that she wanted to join Beast Mode Gym, his eyes widened as if she had just announced that she was planning to wrestle a crocodile. Amara, have you forgotten you just had a baby? Your body is still healing. That Bruno man will push you until you break. I have heard of people collapsing there. But Amara pleaded, Chike, I need to feel good about myself. I can't keep looking like this. I want my confidence back. Chike sighed and shook his head. Confidence is good, but not if you end up in the hospital. I am telling you, that gym is not for normal people. They say it is like boot camp from hell. Even men cry there. Amara laughed nervously, but she said nothing. The next day, as Amara stood in front of her mirror, she pinched the soft skin around her waist and sighed again. She thought of the birthday party coming up in a few weeks, of the photos that would end up on social media, and of the comments she would get about how much weight she had gained. She remembered Titi's words, "If you can survive Bruno, you will never complain about your body again." And that was all it took. She grabbed her phone, called Titi and said, "Okay, fine. Sign me up for Beast Mode Gym. I am going there tomorrow." Titi screamed with excitement and signed her up immediately. On the evening before her first class, Amara couldn't sleep. She scrolled through online reviews of the gym and every single one sounded like a warning. "You will cry, but you will thank him later. Bruno is not a man. He is a demon with a stopwatch. I fainted on day 3, but now I look amazing." Amara's hands shook as she set her alarm clock for tomorrow. She was terrified but also strangely excited. She told herself, "I can do this. I have to do this. How bad can it be?" Amara arrived at Beast Mode Gym the next morning, but she stood outside the building staring at the intimidating red door, wondering if she should turn back. Through the open windows, she could already hear voices inside. People were crying and grunting, and a booming voice was shouting commands. "You can do it. Don't stop. I said lower. Lower? What are you waiting for? Christmas?" Amara froze. For a moment, she thought maybe she had come to the wrong place. Was this a gym or a military training camp? Still, she sighed deeply and stepped inside. Inside, the gym was filled with people of all shapes and sizes, but none of them looked normal. Everyone was sweating like rain buckets and their faces were twisted in pain. Some were lying flat on the floor as if they were begging for mercy. A man was doing push-ups while Bruno stood on his back counting out loud, "4 more or you will start again from 0. Another woman was holding a plank, trembling like a vibrating phone and crying, "Please, I can't anymore." But Bruno just rolled. "You are not here to smile. Crying burns calories." Amara's jaw dropped. She looked at Titi, who was stretching casually as if the madness was completely normal. Is this safe?" Amara asked. Titi grinned. "Safe? Who cares about safe? Look at my waist. Just spend 2 weeks here and you'll thank me later." Before Amara could protest, a shadow fell over her. She turned and saw Coach Bruno standing over her. Bruno was even scarier in person. His stare was so intense that Amara immediately stood straighter. He looked her up and down and said, "So, you are the new one. You think you are ready for this?" Amara nodded weakly. "Yes, maybe." "Maybe," Bruno backed and Amara jumped. "There is no maybe here. It is either you do or you fail. We don't do cute little exercises here. We transform bodies. Are you ready to burn?" Amara forced a smile. "I guess." "Wrong answer. Say, yes, coach." "Yes, coach," Amara squeaked. They started with the warm-up session, but it was worse than anything Amara had ever done in her life. Within 5 minutes, her legs were shaking like jelly, and she was sweating like a dog on heat. Bruno shouted at everyone like a drill sergeant, "Push harder, go lower. If you can push a baby out, you can push through the squats." Amara's jaw dropped. Did he just... "Yes," Titi said. "He says that to all the moms here. Don't take it personally." But it was hard not to take it personally when Bruno kept hovering over her, yelling, "What is that? That is not a squat. That is a lazy bend. Lower, more, again." Amara tried. Oh, she really did. But after the 20th squat, she thought her legs were going to give up and sign resignation papers. Halfway through the session, someone actually fainted. A tall guy with bulging muscles collapsed onto a mat, panting. Amara screamed, "Is he okay?" But Bruno didn't even blink. "Someone pour water on him. He will be fine. Weakness is temporary," Bruno said and quickly moved on to yell at another victim. Client. Amara wanted to run as every part of her body ached. But when she tried to sneak out, Bruno's voice rang through the room. "Where do you think you are going, new girl? Did I say you could leave?" She froze in embarrassment. I just need some air. Bruno frowned the more. Air is for people who have finished their sets. Get back here now. She obeyed, but by the end of the class, Amara was lying on the floor like a discarded rag. Her body was screaming. Her arms felt like noodles, and she didn't even have the strength to blink. Titi knelt beside her, grinning. See? Not so bad, right? Amara groaned. Not so bad. I feel like I've been hit by a truck. Titi laughed. That's how you know it's working. Wait till tomorrow. Every muscle in your body will be singing hymns. When Amara finally stumbled home, Chike took one look at her and dropped his phone. What happened to you? Did you join a fighting club? I joined worse, Amara panted and collapsed onto the couch. I think I might be dead already. Coach Bruno is the real beast. Chike frowned. Amara, I'm warning you, that man is not training people. He's torturing them. You just had a baby. Do you want me to come and drag you out of that place? Amara woke up the next morning feeling like her body had been borrowed, beaten and returned in bad condition. She couldn't even move her arms without wincing. Her legs felt like wet cardboard, and even breathing seemed like hard work. She groaned. I can't do this again. Never again. But when she stood in front of the mirror and tilted sideways, she thought she saw a tiny difference. Maybe it was in her head, but her stomach didn't look as big and stubborn as yesterday. And that tiny glimpse of hope was all she needed to convince herself that the pain was worth it. So she returned. By the third session, Amara began to understand why people called Bruno's gym hell with dumbbells. The man didn't just push people, he dragged them to their limits and then pushed them past it with a smile that said, yes, suffer it now, you will thank me later. Bruno had a way of speaking that made people obey, even when their body screamed no. Don't listen to your weak flesh, he would yell. Pain is your friend. Do you want your body to respect you? Then make it cry. Amara hated him during those sessions. She hated how he shouted, how he was everywhere, and how he clapped his hands like an angry drum whenever someone tried to slow down. But strangely, she also respected him because deep down, she could already feel herself getting stronger. After 2 weeks, Amara's friends started noticing changes. Her cheeks looked slimmer, her arms looked tighter, and her waist was slowly coming back. Titi kept cheering her on. See, I told you, Bruno's method is crazy, but it works. If you survive him, you can survive anything. Even Amara's mother commented when she visited, Amara, are you sure you are eating? You are looking younger and smaller already. Well, each compliment felt like a prize to Amara, and soon she started chasing it like an addict chasing the next rap. However, Chike wasn't impressed. He noticed that Amara often came home too exhausted to even eat or carry their baby for long. She spent her evenings lying flat on the floor, groaning while scrolling through fitness pages online. He warned her, one day, you will push yourself until you land in the hospital. This Bruno guy is too extreme. You are barely 3 months postpartum. Why are you doing this to yourself? But Amara brushed him off. I'm fine, Chike. It's just exercise. I want to look like myself again. Don't you want me to feel confident? Chike sighed. I want you to be alive first. Confidence won't matter if you are no more. Meanwhile, Bruno soon began to notice Amara's determination during one brutal session. While others were collapsing or sneaking off to drink water, Amara kept pushing. She was slower than some, but she never quit. Bruno's eyes narrowed as he studied her form. You, he barked, pointing at her. Yes, you, Amara. You have fire, I can see it. From today, you are my personal project. The other trainees froze. Everyone knew what personal projects meant. It meant no mercy. Bruno would push you twice as hard, watch you like a hawk, and not let you leave the gym until you proved self. That day, Amara left the gym feeling like her soul had been dragged out of her body. But Bruno patted her on the shoulder and said, good job, your results will shock everyone. Those words stuck with her and she couldn't stop thinking about them. By now, Amara had started living and breathing fitness. She spent hours watching videos of meal plans, reading about muscle activation, and counting calories like a mathematician. She would look at her stomach mark in the mirror, pull it and say, just a few more sessions and I'll get there. Even Titi noticed the change in her friend's attitude and she cautioned her, Amara, you need to rest too. Don't overdo it. I know Bruno is intense, but you can't keep pushing like this. Remember, your body is still healing from childbirth. But Amara wouldn't listen. Every time Bruno shouted, you can do it, more, lower, again, something inside her pushed harder. It was as if she needed to prove to everyone and herself that she was strong enough. One evening, as she staggered home after a particularly grueling session, her knees gave way for a moment on the steps. Chike caught her just in time. Amara, this is madness. Look at you. I am telling you, this gym will break you. Amara smiled weakly, even though her whole body was trembling. No, it won't. I'm stronger than this, Chike. Just wait and see. I am going to shock you on my birthday. One Monday morning, Bruno stood in front of the class and announced, today we are doing hell round. No excuses, no weakness, only warriors survive hell round. If you are not ready, leave now. Nobody left, not even Amara. Even though her heart sank, she wanted to leave. She wanted to grab her gym bag and run back home. But when she saw the determined looks on the faces of other trainees, especially the women who looked like fitness models, something in her refused to quit. Hell round is 1 hour of non-stop intensity, Bruno continued. Planks, burpees, squats, jump ropes, lunges, no breaks. You will cry, but you will come out looking like a star. Titi leaned towards Amara and whispered, don't push too hard, just do your best. But Amara was already biting her lips and telling herself, if I survive this, I will finally look like what I want. The session started and the room exploded with movement. Bruno shouted instructions like a drill sergeant. 10 more squats, lower, lower. If you stand before I say so, you start again. Amara's legs burned like fire after the first 15 minutes. Sweat drenched her face and soaked her clothes until it felt like she had been dipped in water. Her arms trembled, her chest ached, and her breathing became heavier now. At the 20-minute mark, she wanted to give up. Her vision was getting blurry, but Bruno's voice turned out through the haze. Don't you dare stop now. Push! You think your body will change if you quit? Suffer now and shine later. People around her were groaning and collapsing on their mats. One guy even crawled to the side and lay flat, but Bruno ignored him and focused on the rest. Get up, everyone. The pain is your progress. Amara's heart was pounding so hard that it felt like it would burst through her chest. Her knees shook with every lunge and at some point, she almost tripped over her own legs. Coach, I need water, she croaked, but Bruno snapped. No water, not until you finish the round. You are stronger than you think. Titi noticed Amara's pale face and whispered again. Amara, slow down. You just gave birth a few months ago. Don't overdo it. But Amara shook her head stubbornly. Just a little more. I can do it, she told herself, even though every muscle in her body was screaming. At the 40-minute mark, Bruno introduced burpees. 20 burpees. If you can't do 20, you do 30. Amara tried. Oh, she really tried. She forced herself down, pushed up and jumped. But by the 10th burpee, her legs gave out and she crumpled to the floor like a rag doll. Amara! Titi screamed and bent down to her. The gym went silent. Even Bruno paused for a moment. Amara's breathing was shallow. She clutched her chest weakly. I can't. Bruno begged for someone to bring water. Clear the way. Give her space. When Chike arrived at the gym after Titi called him, he saw Amara lying on the mat, barely conscious, and his rage boiled over. What is wrong with you people? He yelled, pointing at Bruno. Is this a gym or a death camp? She just gave birth not long ago, and you are pushing her like she's a soldier. Bruno tried to defend himself. Sir, she was strong. I believed she could handle it. handle it. Look at her. My wife is not here to die for six-pack abs. If anything happens to her, I swear I will close this place down with my own hands, Chike shouted. That evening, Beast Mode Gym was unusually quiet. Bruno stood alone in the dark, replaying the incident in his head. For the first time, he questioned his methods. Was he really pushing people too far? Was his obsession with results blinding him to their limits? The news of Amara's collapse went round quickly, such that by the next morning, the story had traveled from the gym to social media, to the neighborhood, and even to Chike's office colleagues who called to ask, is it true that your wife almost died at that crazy gym? As a result, Beast Mode Gym, which had once been known for its miracle results, now had a new reputation as the gym that almost killed a young mother, and people started sharing their own horror stories online. One woman wrote, Bruno almost made me do squats until I nearly threw up. He didn't care. He just shouted, pain is weakness leaving the body. Another man posted, I left that place because my knees almost died before my stomach reduced. Bruno's name became a heated topic. Some defended him, saying that his methods were harsh but effective, while others accused him of running a torture camp in the name of fitness. Amara also had time to think as she laid on the hospital bed. She realized that she had become obsessed. All the late nights scrolling through Instagram, and all the times she looked at herself and felt not enough. All the pain she endured, none of it was worth her life. She remembered the fear in Chike's eyes when he sat beside her in the hospital, the sound of her baby crying when she couldn't even carry her, and she made a promise to herself, I need to stop before I lose what really matters. After Amara's collapse, social media people began to spread rumors about Bruno's life. Some said he used to be in the military and he lost a close friend because of weakness, which is why he pushes people so hard. Others claimed that he had once been overweight and mocked, and his obsession with never being weak again turned him into the terrifying coach he is now. A few insisted that Bruno had faced personal tragedy and the gym was his own way of drowning the pain. Unfortunately, the negative reports affected the gym, and by the end of that week, some clients demanded refunds, some stopped showing up altogether, and a group of women even wrote an online petition demanding safer workouts and health checks for clients. That night, Bruno sat alone in the empty gym staring at the equipment. He remembered Amara's pale face, Chike's anger, and the rumors about his methods. For the first time, he asked himself, am I really helping people or am I breaking them? He did not have an answer, but he knew one thing, something had to change, or the next time someone might not just collapse, they might never get up again. For the first time in years, Coach Bruno's gym was quiet. There was no pounding or music, no shouting and no clanging weights. Bruno sat alone on the floor, leaning against the wall and staring at his reflection in the giant mirror. Bruno had always been the man who never broke down. At least, that was what people believed. They saw his tough exterior, his relentless drive, and his no pain, no gain attitude. But what they didn't know was that his obsession with pushing people came from a painful wound that refused to heal. Years ago, Bruno wasn't the terrifying instructor everyone feared. He was a young man who had been overweight, mocked in school for his size, and nicknamed Bread Belly by bullies who threw snacks at him in the hallway. His self-esteem was buried under every cruel laughter and insult. Then a tragedy happened, and that changed everything. His older sister, who was also overweight, had struggled with health issues for years. She had promised Bruno that they would get fit together and that they would prove everyone wrong. But she suddenly died from complications related to her weight, and Bruno blamed himself. If I had pushed her harder, maybe she would still be alive, he would tell himself countless times. Now, that guilt grew like a fire in his chest, and when he joined the military, it transformed into an obsession. He learned discipline, endurance, and pain tolerance. And when he left the army, he built his gym with one mission: to make sure that no one ever failed like his sister did. But in trying to save others, he forgot that everybody's body was different. As Bruno sat there, the image of Amara collapsing replayed in his mind like a tragic video, making him to question everything. Was he actually helping people, or was he hurting them under the disguise of motivation? Was he chasing results because he cared about his clients, or because he was still punishing himself for his sister's death? He walked around the gym and suddenly everything around him felt wrong. He realized he had been treating his clients like soldiers and not human beings who had different limits, different stories, and different struggles. And that was when Bruno decided that something had to change. Forgive me, sister. I have been doing this wrong. I have been doing this all wrong. The next morning, Bruno made a phone call he never thought he would make. He called Amara. When she answered, he used a kind of voice she had never heard him use before. Amara, it is Coach Bruno. I wanted to apologize. I pushed you too hard. I should have considered your limits. I'm sorry. There was a long silence. Then Amara said, Coach, I know you mean well, but we are not all soldiers. We are just people trying to get better. Sometimes rest is as important as the workout. Bruno smiled as the lesson sank in. I know now. Thank you. Moving on, Beast Mode Gym never remained the same after Amara's collapse. For 2 weeks, the building was locked. There were no screams of lower, more, again, echoing from Coach Bruno's voice, and there were no lines of trembling trainees waiting to be broken and rebuilt. The place felt like a wounded soldier in need of healing, just like the man who built it. Bruno took those weeks to reflect and read books on safe postpartum fitness. He spoke with a few doctors and even sat with his old military coach to understand where he had crossed the line. Now, he understood that some of his clients were new mothers, some were recovering from health battles, and some were simply trying to find joy in their own bodies again. So, when Beast Mode Gym finally reopened, people were surprised to see a softer version of Bruno. He was not soft like a teddy bear, but he was soft enough to say, let's start with what you can do, not what I think you should do. About a month later, Amara visited the gym, not to train, but to speak with Bruno face to face. Her baby was in her arms, and Bruno, who was training a group with far less shouting than before, froze when he saw her. He walked up to her. Amara, you look well. Amara smiled. I am. I wanted to see if the rumors were true, that beast mode isn't hell anymore. Bruno chuckled dryly. Hell needed to cool down. You taught me that. They sat for a while after his class. Bruno apologized again and Amara smiled. I know you are tough because you want people to win. But if you ever want to train women like me again, you need to remember that we have different battles. Some of us are already warriors just for surviving childbirth. Bruno nodded and an idea sparked in his head. Would you maybe consider coming back, but this time at your own pace? I want to create a safe program for mothers. You will be the first to test it, only if you say yes. Amara laughed. A gentle beast mode? That's new. We'll see, coach. Maybe when I'm ready. The fallout from Amara incident, as people called it, didn't just change Bruno's approach, it also changed his entire gym culture. He introduced mandatory health checks before clients joined his classes. He hired a nutritionist and a physiotherapist to work with him. And even though he still yelled, his tone was no longer like that of a harsh military man. It was now like that of a man dishing out encouragement. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. Have you been to a beast mode gym before? Or have you experienced Coach Bruno in real life? How did you survive it? I would love to read your comments below. Kindly share the story out with your loved ones, give the story a thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye!